is Rebecca. You're watching Rebecca's channel and welcome back to another episode of the history of Diabolical Lovers. You guys voted for the first Mukami for the series and that is going to be Yuma. I'm also going to put another poll up on my YouTube community page, so if you want to see the next Mukami or you want to vote for your next Mukami boy, then I'm going to put a community vote poll, whatever it's called, on that page, so make sure you go vote for it after this video. As always, the information from this video is coming from the Diabolical Lover wiki fandom, so always make sure to go and support them in the description box down below. So if you want to see more information about Yuma, then make sure you go in the description box down below and go and check them out. But anyway, before we begin this video, as always, please subscribe to the channel. I post on a Wednesday and I post on a Sunday. If you like anime content, Diabolical Lover content, or anything that I decide to post on this channel that's funny or interesting, then make sure you go and subscribe to the channel because that always helps me. Also, make sure you go and follow me on my Instagram to chat with me and to hear my ranting about the new Diabolical Lover merch that's coming out on the 23rd. Oh my god, have you guys seen that merch? It's so good. So if you want to know more about that and see me like rant about that on there, then make sure you go and follow my Instagram. Leave it in the description box down below. So let's get into the history of Yuma Mukami. So Yuma is 17 years old and he was born on July the 23rd. Of course we don't know what the actual year was because like all the boys in this series, he is a fictional character, so sadly he is not real. Yuma's race was actually a human, but as we all know, he is now a vampire. His real name is actually called Edgar. He is also the third member of the Mukami household as well. So let's talk about Yuma's personality. Yuma's personality always causes him to sometimes go on to rampages, but he falls asleep after these rampages just because he gets bored. Relatable there. He can always be found eating away at his sugar cubes as it's one of his favourite things. He is also very sadistic and rough and also quite perverted and of course hot-tempered as well. But as a child he was very lively and very cheerful, but all of that changed again when he grew up and of course became a vampire, and we'll get into that with his history. Okay, so let's talk about Yuma's history. So as we know, Yuma was one of Shu's childhood best friends back in the day, which was a boy named Edgar, aka Yuma now. So in Yuma's early childhood, he actually stayed in a small village with his parents. His parents were sadly poor, but they were also very hard-working parents. But they were also quite strict parents, which also caused them to beat up Yuma. And the reason why they used to beat up Yuma was because he used to refuse to pray to God. Yuma still loved them though, knowing that they were good and simple people. He met Shu one night after Shu ran away from the mansion where he stayed with his mother and his brother Reggie Sakamaki. Shu and Yuma became best friends. Yuma taught Shu how to hunt and basically just how to survive overall. But Shu never actually told Yuma that he was a vampire because he seemed to actually just avoid that conversation altogether and didn't want to tell his best friend that he was this blood-sucking monster basically. And as we know, Reggie found out about, Yuma's village and how they were best friends, and Reggie went and set Edgar's village on fire, and this basically ruined their friendship sadly. So he destroyed Yuma's village, and because of this, Yuma actually went back to try and save his parents from the fire. And because of this, Yuma actually went into the fire, and Shu did try to save him and protect him, but sadly Yuma died. Or so we thought. But later it revealed that Yuma managed to survive the fire somehow, but had no memory of his past life that he once used to live. He became a follower of a street gang and looked up to the leader that was running the gang that he was involved in. Under a new name, Bear, Yuma lived on the street with the leader called Lux. So the leader of the gang would actually go and scavenge around food and find food to give to his followers in this gang. He worked worked as a slave, or what he claims as livestock. So basically in the street gang, he basically went and stealed money and tried to survive with this gang pretty much most of his childhood. Unfortunately, the military actually came to the town where they were at and started shooting everyone that was there. But Yuma was actually the lucky one and actually survived the whole military shooting that happened, because the main reason why the military came was because they wanted to get rebellious groups out of the way and just get rid of them. But luckily Yuma survived, because again, Yuma is our main boy here, so of course he's gonna survive it all. So after all the gang stuff happened, he actually went and met Ko, Ruki and Azusa. Now the whole story that goes with this is quite long. It is a long story, and you do see in the anime, in the More Blood anime, you do see them all together and like running away, and that's because they are running away from a gang that is trying to get them. Now if you want to know more information, I'm gonna link it all down below because it's just so much here that I can't explain in this video. But basically they all try and run away from this gang that is like hunting them down, basically to kill them. And shortly after them running away from this gang that is trying to hunt them down, they actually went and met Karl Heinz, and that is where Karl Heinz offered them a second life to become vampires who will basically just serve Karl Heinz. They all agreed to basically become vampires, and that is where Karl Heinz takes them to the mansion and tells them the story about the apple and about Adam and Eve, and about of his plan for the apple of Adam plan. And while this was all going on, this is when Karl Heinz went and gave Yuma his actual name, now that we all know, aka Yuma, and introduces him to his favourite thing, the sugar cubes. I have to say, when reading this up, Yuma's history has been one of the most interesting history out of all the boys that I've read, especially with the whole gang thing, and then him living on the streets, and then him escaping this gang that is hunting after them. It is the most interesting thing that I've ever read. So if you do want to read the whole story about the gang, because again I explain it all here because there's just so much for me to talk about of it and it would just take up so much time, so I will link it down below. Go check it out if you want to watch it. But yeah, that's horrible, like being in a village and then you're trying to save your family and then you wake up and you survive and they have no memory of what happened or what was even in your past life. The thing about him losing his memory kind of makes me think that maybe it was Shu that had something involved, and then they managed to like take his memory away so he couldn't remember Shu or anything. So I kind of think Shu has something to do with it and taking his memory away, but I don't know, that's just a diabolical theory of mine there. I don't know, but it could be. But like, just wow, that was interesting, that like wow. So now we're gonna move on to some of Yuma's little traits that he can do. So he addresses Yui as So, aka female pig, which is what he calls her in the English dub. He also loves farming, which will probably be from his childhood. His least favourite food is curry. His real name is Edgar, as we all know. He treasures sugar cubes because he loves them so much. He does not need to eat human food as a vampire, but he enjoys to eat it anyway. That was the history of Yuma Mukami. If you want to find out more about him, links in the description, guys. You should totally check it out if you're a Yuma fan. It's so interesting. Like, it is, if you want to read up about it, go read up about it. If you guys like this series and want to see more of the boys, I do have a playlist on the channel as well. I will leave my playlist down below for you. Go check out the Sakamaki boys because their stories are, ooh, they are interesting too. Give this video a thumbs up if you guys liked it, because that always helps me on the channel. Anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and remember guys, don't be scared to be a different. Bye everyone!